Alex was a man the world admired but secretly pitied. Billionaire, philanthropist, and business genius. Yet behind all the headlines was a widower broken by grief. His wife, the love of his life, had died giving birth to their twin daughters, Becky and Beauty. Since that tragic night, Alex's heart was torn between overwhelming love for his girls and the unbearable silence that echoed through his mansion. He tried everything, hiring the best caregivers, surrounding himself with relatives, even spending nights awake in the nursery. But none of it filled the emptiness his wife left behind. Eventually, exhaustion forced him to hire a full-time nanny. That's how Clara entered his life. She arrived quietly, a young woman with calm eyes and gentle hands. She seemed ordinary, but the twins clung to her as if they had known her forever. Within weeks, Becky and Beauty smiled more, laughed more, and even slept better at night. For Alex, it was a relief. Yet part of him felt uneasy leaving his precious daughters with someone he barely knew. Still, business called. After weeks of negotiation abroad, Alex returned home one night earlier than expected. He rolled his suitcase through the silent hallways, eager to surprise his twins. But as he approached the kitchen, laughter and splashes echoed from within. When he pushed the door open, his world stopped. There was Clara, sleeves rolled up, bathing Becky and Beauty inside the kitchen sink. Soap bubbles floated through the air as the girls squealed in delight, splashing water everywhere. Alex froze. Fury surged through him like fire. "What on earth are you doing?" his voice thundered, startling everyone. Clara gasped, almost dropping the soap. The twins whimpered at their father's sudden outburst. "Sir, please." "I can explain," she stammered. "Explain? You're bathing my daughters in a sink like they're dishes." Alex roared, veins bulging in his neck. His chest heaved as Becky and Beauty started crying loudly. Clara gently lifted the girls from the water, wrapping them quickly in soft towels. Her voice trembled, but her eyes were steady. "Mr. Alex, I wasn't disrespecting them. The twins have sensitive skin. The bathroom water has been fluctuating in temperature. I couldn't risk burning or chilling them. The sink gives me better control over the water. Please, I was only protecting them." But Alex was blinded by anger. "Do you think my mansion doesn't have bathtubs? Do you think I pay you to humiliate my children?" His words cut like knives. Clara's lips trembled, but she didn't back down. "I am not just a maid," she whispered. "Before life broke me, I was a health specialist. I lost my only daughter years ago. She died because I trusted the wrong care. Since then, I swore I would never let another child suffer. That is why I chose to work with children. I wasn't mocking your daughters, sir. I was saving them." Alex stared, speechless. His anger clashed with confusion as he looked at Becky and Beauty, who now clung to Clara as if she were their shield. His chest tightened. Why did his girls love her this much? Why did her words pierce him so deeply? Alex clenched his fists, pacing the kitchen floor. He wanted to yell more, to throw Clara out immediately, but every time he looked at his daughters, his anger wavered. Becky and Beauty were still sobbing softly, but not because of Clara. They were scared of him. The realization hit Alex like a stone. His twins, the only reminder of his late wife, were trembling in fear of their own father. He swallowed hard, guilt mixing with his fury. Clara wrapped the twins tighter and whispered soothingly, "Shh, Daddy didn't mean to scare you. Daddy loves you." She glanced at Alex, her eyes challenging him to deny it. For a moment, silence filled the room, broken only by the crackling sound of the stove clock. Then Alex finally spoke, his voice lower but still sharp. "You should have asked me first, Clara. You don't get to make decisions about my children behind my back." Clara looked him in the eye. "And if I had called you overseas, would you have answered? Or would you have told me you were in a meeting?" Alex froze. No one ever dared speak to him that way. She continued softly, her voice trembling but sincere. "I know they're all you have, sir. But you leave them for days, sometimes weeks. They need love every hour, not just when you're free. I only did what I believed was safest for them. If you want me gone, I'll leave. But your twins, they need more than guards and riches. They need presence." Alex felt his throat tighten. Her words stung because they were true. Since his wife's death, he buried himself in work, thinking wealth could cover every gap. But here was Clara, exposing the cracks he had ignored. Still, pride kept him stiff. "You're overstepping your role," he muttered. "I'll think about your future here tomorrow. For now, go to your room." Clara bowed her head and carried the twins out. Alex remained in the kitchen, his mind heavy. For the first time in years, he felt like a stranger in his own home. The next morning, Alex expected Clara to come begging for forgiveness. Instead, he found her outside in the garden, playing with Becky and Beauty. She had spread a mat on the grass, blowing bubbles while the twins clapped and chased them. Their laughter filled the air, soft and pure. Alex stood at the balcony, arms crossed. Something in his chest stirred. The twins hadn't laughed that hard in months, not even with him. Later that afternoon, his younger sister, Linda, paid him a visit. She was outspoken and rarely hid her opinions. "Alex," she began sharply after greeting, "people are talking. You, a billionaire, leaving your children with a maid? What if she's only after your money?" Alex sighed, already tired. "Linda, not now." But she pressed on. "You should fire her before rumors spread. You need a proper governess from a reputable agency, not some woman with a tragic backstory." Alex frowned. "What do you mean?" Linda smirked. "You didn't know? I did some digging. Clara lost her child years ago. Her husband abandoned her. She's been drifting from one home to another, doing nanny jobs. Doesn't that sound suspicious to you?" Alex's jaw tightened. The truth was, he hadn't done a proper background check beyond her resume. But Becky and Beauty, they adored her. Could that kind of bond be faked? That night, unable to sleep, Alex walked past the nursery. He peeked in and froze. Clara was sitting on a rocking chair, humming a lullaby softly. Becky was curled against her chest, while Beauty slept peacefully in the crib. Clara's eyes glistened with tears as she stroked the child's hair. "My little angel, if only you were still here," Clara whispered under her breath, almost inaudible. Alex's heart skipped. She wasn't talking to his twins. She was talking to her lost daughter. For the first time, Alex didn't see a maid. He saw a mother who had been broken, yet still chose to pour her love into children who weren't hers. Days turned into weeks, and Alex found himself watching Clara more closely. Every smile she gave the twins, every meal she prepared, every bedtime story, she did it with a sincerity money couldn't buy. But not everyone was pleased. Linda returned, stirring trouble. She claimed Clara was trying to replace Alex's late wife. Some staff whispered that Clara had too much influence over the girls. And then came the breaking point. One evening, Alex hosted a dinner with important investors. The twins wandered into the hall crying, calling for Clara. In front of everyone, they ignored their father and clung to the maid's dress instead. The room grew tense. One investor chuckled awkwardly. Another whispered, "Seems like the maid is more mother than the father." Alex's pride boiled. Embarrassed, he snapped at Clara in front of them all. "Enough! You're crossing the line. Go back to your quarters immediately." The twins burst into tears. Clara's face turned pale, but she obeyed silently, carrying Becky while Beauty reached for her. Alex's chest ached at the sight, but he remained stone-faced before his guests. That night, his mansion felt colder than ever. The twins refused to eat. They cried themselves to sleep, calling Clara's name. Alex lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Something inside him was breaking. He was losing his daughters, not to death this time, but to his own stubbornness. Finally, just before dawn, he got up and walked to Clara's room. He paused at her door, hearing muffled sobs inside. He almost knocked, but pride held him back. Instead, he whispered to himself in the dark hallway, "Maybe Linda is right. Maybe I'm making a mistake." But deep down, another voice fought louder. "Or maybe you're about to lose the only woman who truly cares." The next morning, Alex tried to carry on as if nothing had happened. He dressed in his sharp suit, tied his tie, and left instructions with the butler. But as he glanced toward the nursery, he noticed something was wrong. The twins weren't giggling. They weren't playing. They were sitting quietly on the floor, their eyes swollen from crying all night. Becky clutched a doll, while Beauty sucked her thumb, staring at the door as though waiting for someone to appear. "Good morning, girls," Alex said softly, kneeling beside them. Neither of them responded. Becky turned away, and Beauty only mumbled one word through her thumb. "Clara." The name hit him like a hammer. By afternoon, his frustration boiled over. He called Clara into his study. She entered slowly, her uniform neat, her face calm but her eyes tired. "You've made my daughters too attached to you," Alex said coldly. "Now they won't even look at me. This isn't healthy." Clara didn't flinch. "With all respect, Mr. Alex, children attach themselves to love, not roles. They cling to whoever makes them feel safe." Her words pierced again. He wanted to argue, but instead he slammed his pen down. "Enough! From today, you are to limit contact with them. Do your duties, nothing more." Clara's face fell, but she nodded. "As you wish, sir." That evening, the twins screamed when Clara tried to stay away. They refused dinner, cried endlessly, and at one point, Becky threw her plate across the room. Beauty kicked the butler when he tried to calm her down. Alex's mansion, once silent, was now a house of chaos. And for the first time he realized he had caused it. Days passed, and the tension grew unbearable. Linda returned, pushing harder. "Alex, listen to me. This woman is dangerous. She's manipulating the twins. She'll control you next." But Alex, though stubborn, could no longer deny what his eyes saw. Clara wasn't manipulating anyone. She was the only one who could soothe the storm his home had become. Late one night, Alex walked past the nursery again. He expected to hear crying, but instead he heard Clara's voice. He peered in and saw her on the floor, whispering to Becky and Beauty, who had finally fallen asleep. "I know I shouldn't love you this much," Clara murmured, stroking their cheeks. "But you remind me of my little girl. She had your same smile, Beauty. And Becky, she laughed like you." Tears slid down her face. Alex's throat tightened as he leaned against the wall. For years, he had told himself no woman could step into his wife's shoes. But here was Clara, not trying to replace her, just giving the twins what he could not. The next morning, disaster struck. Alex received a call while in his office. His lawyer's voice was urgent. "Sir, the Child Welfare Services have received an anonymous report. Someone claimed your maid is unfit, bathing your twins in unsafe conditions. They're sending an inspector today." Alex's jaw dropped. "What? Who would?" And then he knew. Linda. He rushed home, furious. When he arrived, the inspector was already there, questioning Clara while the twins clung to her legs. "Mrs. Clara, is it true you bathed the children in a kitchen sink?" the inspector asked sternly. "Yes," she admitted softly, "but only because the bathroom water was unstable. It was to protect them." The inspector scribbled notes, clearly unimpressed. Alex stepped forward. "Enough. She's telling the truth. Clara has done nothing but care for my children as if they were her own. If you want to question anyone's ability to raise them, question me. I left them in someone else's care while I buried myself in work." Clara's eyes widened, shocked by his defense. For the first time, Alex had spoken up for her. The inspector frowned but eventually closed the file. "Very well, but we'll continue to monitor this household closely." With that, he left. When the door closed, Alex turned to Linda, who had been standing smugly in the corner. His voice was ice. "You reported this, didn't you?" Linda lifted her chin. "I did it for you, Alex. She's not good for this family." "Enough!" Alex roared, slamming his fist on the table. "From this day forward, stay out of my home. My daughters come first, and right now that means Clara stays." Linda's face turned pale, but Alex didn't waver. For once he had chosen. That night, the mansion was quiet again. Clara tucked the twins into bed, then turned to leave. But Alex stopped her. "Clara," he said softly, his voice different, gentler. "I owe you an apology. I've treated you unfairly. I let my pride blind me." Clara blinked, taken aback. "You don't need to apologize, sir. I understand your pain." "No," he insisted, stepping closer. "You don't understand. Since my wife died, I've been afraid. Afraid of failing as a father. Afraid of letting anyone close. But tonight, when I saw you standing against that inspector, I realized something. You're not just here for a job. You're here because you care. And I can't ignore that anymore." Clara's lips parted, but no words came out. For a moment, they stood in silence, the air between them heavy with unspoken emotions. Alex's voice dropped to a whisper. "You've given my daughters love I couldn't. And somehow you've given me hope again." Clara's eyes glistened, her heart racing. She wanted to speak, but before she could, Becky stirred in her sleep, mumbling "mummy" for the first time. Both adults froze. Clara covered her mouth, tears spilling down her cheeks. Alex swallowed hard, emotions flooding him. Was this fate? Or was his heart finally opening again? The word "mummy" lingered in the air like a fragile echo. Alex's chest tightened as he stared at Clara, who was trembling, unable to hide the tears rolling down her cheeks. She called me Mama," Clara whispered, her voice breaking. Alex swallowed hard, his throat tight. "It's because you've been more of a mother to them than anyone since." His voice trailed off, pain flooding his eyes at the memory of his late wife. Clara shook her head quickly, wiping her tears. "No, please don't say that. I could never replace her." "You're not replacing her," Alex said firmly. "You're giving them something I thought they would never have again." For a moment, silence hung between them, heavy and tender. Then Clara lowered her gaze, her hands clasped nervously. "Sir, I can't stay forever. These girls will grow. They'll ask questions. And one day they'll know I was just a maid who—" She paused, her voice breaking again. "Who lost her own child and was trying to fill a hole in her heart." Alex stepped closer, his tone gentle. "Clara, maybe that hole in your heart was meant to be filled here. With them. With me." Her eyes widened, searching his face, but before she could respond, a sudden scream pierced the hallway. "Becky!" Both of them rushed into the twins' room. Becky was burning with fever, her skin hot, her small body trembling. Beauty clung to her sister, crying. "Call the doctor!" Alex shouted, panic flooding his chest. But Clara was already moving. She scooped Becky into her arms, her voice calm but urgent. "No time. Get me warm towels and the herbal kit in my bag. Hurry!" Alex obeyed without question. He had never seen her like this, so commanding, so sure. Clara worked quickly, cooling Becky's body, whispering soothing words, checking her breathing. Minutes felt like hours until finally, Becky's fever began to break. Her sobs softened, and she clung weakly to Clara's neck, drifting into sleep. Alex exhaled shakily, collapsing into the chair beside the bed. His hands trembled. I thought I was going to lose her." Clara looked at him, her eyes tender. "You won't. Not while I'm here. The weight of her words pressed deep into Alex's heart. In that moment, he knew. He didn't just need her for the twins. He needed her for himself. The next day, Alex found himself watching Clara differently. The way she tied Becky's hair into tiny braids. The way she hummed softly while feeding Beauty. The way she smiled, genuine, warm, rare. But Clara noticed his stares. One afternoon, when the twins were napping, she confronted him. "Mr. Alex, why are you looking at me like that?" she asked nervously. Alex leaned against the doorway, his arms crossed, but his tone softer than ever. "Because for the first time in years, my house feels alive. And it's because of you." Clara's cheeks flushed. "Please don't say things that can't be." "Why not?" Alex stepped closer. "You think because you're a maid you don't deserve love? Or because you lost your daughter, you don't deserve happiness?" Her lips trembled. "I've built walls around my heart for years. I don't think I can." Alex interrupted, his voice firm. "Then let me help you break them." Before Clara could respond, the twins' laughter filled the air. Becky and Beauty ran into the room, tugging at Clara's dress and Alex's suit. "Play with us," they demanded in unison. Alex glanced at Clara. Their eyes met, and for the first time, she smiled without fear. Weeks passed, and their bond grew stronger. But love is never free from trials. Rumors spread in the media. Tabloids caught wind of the billionaire and his maid. Reporters swarmed outside the mansion, twisting the story, calling Clara a gold digger. Investors began questioning Alex's judgment. One night, after a particularly harsh headline, Alex sat Clara down. This storm won't end soon. People won't understand us. They'll judge." Clara lowered her eyes. "Then let me go. If my presence ruins your reputation, I'll leave tomorrow." Alex's heart clenched. "Do you really think I care about reputation? I've been rich all my life, Clara. But I've never been this close to happiness. If I lose you now, I lose more than any fortune could give." Tears filled Clara's eyes. "But what about your daughters?" Alex smiled softly. "They already chose you. And maybe so have I." The mansion that once echoed with silence now echoed with laughter. Clara slowly transitioned from maid to something more: friend, confidant, mother figure, and eventually partner. On a quiet evening, Alex took Clara to the garden where his wife used to love sitting. He held her hands, his voice trembling. "I thought my story ended the night my wife died. But you walked in, and you gave my daughters back their laughter. You gave me back my heart. Clara, will you stay? Not as a maid, but as my wife." Clara's knees weakened, tears flooding her cheeks. The twins ran up at that moment, giggling, holding flowers they had picked. "Say yes, Mummy. Say yes." Clara laughed through her tears, pulling them close. She looked at Alex, this man who had been broken but found love again, and whispered the only word her heart could speak. "Yes." The twins cheered. Alex pulled her into his arms, holding her as though he would never let go again. And for the first time in years, Alex felt complete. because sometimes love doesn't come the way you expect. Sometimes it comes disguised in the gentleness of a woman who was once just a maid, but became the heartbeat of a home. What a journey! From pain, loss, and misunderstanding to healing, love, and second chances. Truly, life can surprise us when we least expect it. But tell me, do you think Alex made the right decision by trusting Clara in the end? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next powerful story. And please share this video with a friend. You never know who needs to hear this today.